You know that you're doing the right thing when you're telling drivers about the pay issues and pointing it out to them. When you start receiving letters from carriers telling you you've got to stop telling drivers this, and we get those once in a while. Just recently, we got a couple of letters from a woman in New Jersey demanding that we quit telling drivers that they're underpaid. She goes on to refer to her drivers as a bunch of crybabies and says they're lucky to get the pay they deserve. You know, who wouldn't want to work for a woman like that? That's, I bet you there's no driver appreciation day at that carrier. I just shook my head because it's just such antiquated thinking you can hardly believe it. But anyway, and I felt like she wasn't even really worth my time to respond to, but I felt like saying, you're dispatching for this company. Do you think you should be paid only when you pick up the phone to talk to a driver? That's just such stupid thinking that it's just off the hook. And she was either too hot-headed enough or too stupid enough to think it through, because she even gave me her name, and I felt like getting on YouTube here and saying, well, if you work for this woman, and citing her name, don't you guys be expecting a pay raise anytime soon. But I won't do that to her because I'm a better man than that. But God knows she deserves it. The point is here, her type of thinking is an antiquated mindset. Her phrase was, drivers get paid to drive. She admitted in her letter that their drivers sit a fair bit of the time between loads, like loading and unloading loading docks. She admits in her letter that they, as a carrier, get paid for the times those trucks sit waiting to load and unload. She also admits in her letter that she doesn't pass that on to the drivers. Drivers get paid to drive. And her inference is that if you're not driving, you shouldn't be getting paid. Just like if she's not dispatching, I guess, she shouldn't be getting paid. But smart carriers know that the drivers are their bread and butter, and the owners don't pay for Escalades if they've got no drivers. It's as simple as that. So there are good carriers out there. This mindset is antiquated. You've got to find carriers that keep up with modern day trucking. They're not locked into the 60s. Carriers these days, if they want to keep their drivers, they have to pay downtime as well. They have to pay waiting time as well. You can't be locked in this drivers get paid to drive mindset anymore. If you're working for a carrier now that has that mindset, drivers get paid to drive and nothing else, you need to find a better carrier. And there are better carriers out there, believe me. But you've got to get away from these ones that just have that mindset and think you're, a dime a dozen as truck drivers. That's not true. It hasn't been true for years. But if you're with a carrier like that, get away from them. One of the problems today is the phrase that I hear is industry standard. And these trucking companies want you to believe that you'll only be paid by the mile and that you only deserve to be paid by the mile. And that is an outdated mindset. That is no longer true in today's trucking. And drivers need to understand that even though the carrier would like you to think that way, because they're still making even more money while you're sitting, not getting paid, they're getting paid for the truck being there. You need to know that now they're getting paid, you should be getting paid as well. It is no longer drivers get paid to drive. Now, drivers get paid for all their time, just as any other employee should be. Remember to drive safe out there. And remember not to be caught up in this mentality that the carrier wants you to have. Remember, all your time is worth something, not just time at the wheel. Thought I'd let you guys check out my t-shirt of the week. This is from Stay Loaded Apparel. I picked this up at the truck show in Kentucky last year. Love the back. Drive safe, and I'll see you on the backhaul.